this shit's about to get weird.
Sasha was in full effect.
Sasha is my alter ego.
And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy, Seethruthescript here, back with another video, and this time we're going to be talking about Beyoncé Knowles, or shall I say, Sasha Fierce. Now, I know this is a pretty random topic, but it was one that definitely intrigued me, so hopefully it'll do the same for you. Beyoncé was born Beyoncé Gazelle Knowles on September 4th of 1981 in Houston, Texas. Her mother Tina Knowles and her father Matthew Knowles early on recognized their daughter had great potential to be America's next biggest act. Her parents had her at auditions and rehearsals pretty much non-stop. As a teenager, Beyoncé joined the girl group called Destiny's Child, and together they became one of the biggest musical acts of the late 90s and early 2000s. But even as she gained fame and success as the lead vocalist, Beyoncé still felt like something was missing. She knew that she had more to offer as an artist, and she wanted to explore different sides of herself. So she decided to go solo and released her first album, Dangerously in Love, in 2003. The album was a hit and Beyoncé's star continued to rise, but she still felt like there was more she could do to push herself creatively. That's when she came up with the idea of creating an alter ego, someone who could embody the more confident, powerful side of herself. Thus, Sasha Fierce was born. Beyoncé created a whole persona for Sasha, complete with a different style of dress and makeup and a more aggressive approach to performing. It was a departure from the more polished, controlled image she had cultivated in her early career. At first, some fans were unsure about this new side of Beyoncé, but as they saw her perform as Sasha Fierce, they began to appreciate the raw, unbridled energy she brought to the stage. Beyoncé fully embraced her alter ego, even incorporating her into her 2008 album, I Am Sasha Fierce. The album was a big success with hit singles like Single Ladies and If I Were a Boy. Over the years, Beyoncé has continued to evolve and experiment with her music and image, but Sasha Fierce will always hold a special place in her heart, a reminder of the fearless, powerful woman she can be when she allows herself to let go and be free. So with that said, let me share with you some short interview clips of Beyoncé talking about her alter ego.
Sasha Fierce is very confident, fearless, strong. She can do whatever she wants. She's a fighter. Whenever she falls, she gets right back up. And she uses fear and pain to give her more strength, and is not afraid of being sensual, and she's fierce.
Sasha was in full effect. Sasha is my alter ego. And when people see me, sometimes I think that when they meet me and they speak with me, they're expecting Sasha. And I'm really kind of shy, and not really shy, but more reserved, and nothing like Sasha. I guess I wouldn't be very entertaining on the stage, so Sasha comes out, and she's fearless. You know, she can do things that I cannot do when I'm in rehearsal. I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
I told you that bitch crazy.
As you could hear from those clips, it truly sounds as if something has taken over her consciousness, specifically when on stage. Many seem to interpret what she's saying as a form of possession by some form of demon, spirit, jinn, or whatever other name there is for it around the world. Now, to the average or overly obsessed fan, that might sound outrageous, but we on this channel are fully aware that the entertainment industry is run by a bunch of occultists that without a shadow of a doubt are bent on shaping the minds of their consumers and not in any positive way. Real quick, I want to shout out the homie on Instagram, CEO_benefits. He was the one that sparked my interest on this topic and also helped me with a few connections. One in particular is that Sasha Fierce and Evil Spirit both hold the value of 68 in the reverse full reduction cipher. And I mean, based off those interviews she's done, she's basically describing it as something taking control of her, so it just couldn't be more fitting. When it comes to celebrities, we all know how much of an influence they can have on their audience. And when it comes to Beyonce, being the superstar that she has garnered a diehard fan base, and with this, it's undoubtable that the industry has used her as a vessel for dark energy to be transferred into the ears and minds of her listeners. So let's look into the numbers, symbolism, and programming Beyonce has spewed to her audience, starting with her third studio album, I Am Sasha Fierce, as this is when she made it public of her alter ego. First, notice the album I Am ... Sasha Fierce released 63 days after her 27th birthday. Notice the title of the album equals 63 in the full reduction cipher. Now, for this album introducing her alter ego, Beyonce did not shy away from letting us know who she's representing. As you could see for this promotional photo shoot for the album, on her chest, she bears the Baphomet. Baphomet is an invented pagan deity that the Templars were accused of worshipping and later got embraced by various occult and mystical writers. An interesting symbol to use, granted one of the singles on the album is titled If I Were a Boy, and the Baphomet possesses both male and female features. It was on November 18th of 2008 when this album dropped, and note that date had 37 numerology, which matches with the word Baphomet. What also makes this even more fascinating is that November 18th leaves 43 days in the year. The phrase alter ego equals 43 in the reverse reduction cipher. It's worth mentioning that Lucifer equals 43 as well in the same cipher as alter ego. Now, the phrase alter ego, according to the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, is defined as a person whose personality is different from your own, but who shows or acts as another side of your personality. In other words, a split personality. Notice that Sasha Fierce, the name of Beyonce's alter ego, matches with the phrase split personality with the 94 and 23 connection, and for those that don't know, zeros are null in numerology. Now, that 94 is also important because Beyonce was born on September 4th, a date that can be written as 9/4, but it could also be written as 4/9, like the number 49. And notice Sasha Fierce in the reduction cipher holds the value of 49. So it just seems like it's the perfect name for her alter ego. A quick side note, while mentioning Beyonce's connections to the number 94, later in her career she had been crowned Queen Bey by the media and her fans, a name that also bears the value of 94 in the ordinal cipher. Now, sometime around 2010, Beyonce had stated in an interview with Allure magazine that, quote, Sasha Fierce is done, I killed her. Quote, I don't need Sasha Fierce anymore because I've grown and now I'm able to merge the two, she explained. But realistically, this persona of hers had already taken over a long time ago and has no plans of leaving. The usage of this persona was Beyonce's way of telling the world that she is under some sort of spiritual possession in a more lighthearted way, which prevents the average fan of hers from ever looking too deep into it. Now, after the introduction of Sasha Fierce, Beyonce's imagery and lyrics began to get a lot more bizarre, bearing a lot of influence from the occult. On her 6th studio album, Lemonade, Beyonce had incorporated a poem that was written by Warsan Shire, a British Somali poet, which was used at the beginning of her song Hold Up on the album. Now, on the surface level, the poem seems to be about her relationship with rapper Jay-Z, and that she didn't feel good enough for him. But really, I think this poem is speaking on Beyonce's dark relationship with her alter ego and the spirit that possesses her. I mean, again, to some, this might just sound downright crazy, but understand that the concept of selling one's soul for fame and riches is undoubtedly practiced within the entertainment industry, and as I've said many times before, the devil is always willing to give for those that go out of their way to call upon him. Unfortunately though, the bargainer is never prepared to give up what the devil wants in return. Now let's read this poem together, and I'll let you, the viewers, determine if it's truly about her relationship with her husband, or if it's actually her speaking on a deeper relationship with a spiritual entity of some kind. I tried to change, closed my mouth more, tried to be soft, prettier, less awake, fasted for 60 days, wore white, abstained from mirrors, abstained from sex, slowly did not speak another word. In that time my hair, I grew past my ankles, I slept on a mat on the floor, I swallowed a sword. I levitated into the basement, confessed my sins, and was baptized in a river, got on my knees and said, Amen, and said, I mean, I whipped my own back and asked for dominion at your feet. I threw myself into a volcano. I drank the blood and drank the wine. I sat alone and begged and bent at the waist for God. I crossed myself in thought. I saw the devil. I grew thick in skin on my feet. I bathed in bleach and plugged my menses with the pages from the holy book. But still inside me, coiled deep, was the need to know, are you cheating? Are you cheating on me?
You one crazy ass bitch!
I mean, she's talking about seeing the devil and plugging her menses with pages of the holy book, which honestly sounds like a form of sex magic if you ask me. It's worth mentioning that Beyonce's full name, Beyoncé Knowles, equals 93, alongside the phrase demonic possession in the reduction ciphers. Even just scrolling through the comments of videos where Beyonce talked about her alter ego, people would make the notion that something has changed about her, or that she had sold her soul to the devil for fame and riches. Also, over the years, we have seen Beyonce constantly spread the all-seeing eye symbolism in photo shoots. Now, beyond her strange lyrics and one-eye symbolism, she really can't help but experiment with religious imagery. One example in particular that sparked the curious thinker's mind was when she was seen on the 2017 Grammy stage wearing an all-gold dress with a golden sun crown around her head, this bearing influence from both Virgin Mary, but also the West African goddess typically associated with water, sensuality, and fertility named Osun. Osun is a deity of the Yoruba people of southwestern Nigeria. The story of Osun is quite deep, but in short, the Yoruba people believe that the Orishas were sent by Olodumare, who is considered the supreme god to populate the earth. Osun, being one of the original 17 sent to earth, was the only female deity. The other gods, all male, failed at their attempts to revive and populate the earth. When they realized they were unable to complete the task given to them by Olodumare, they tried to persuade Osun to help them. Osun agreed and brought forth her sweet and powerful waters, bringing life back to earth and humanity and other species into existence. So by Beyonce wearing this clothing is her way of ritualistically channeling the energy of this ancient goddess for the audience to soak in. Next, we have the July 2022 Vogue magazine cover where Beyonce is seen in a black gown with the crown-like hairstyle seated on a red horse. Now, there are a few ways to interpret the symbolism before us. First, you can observe that she is on a red horse, which goes back to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, where it states in Revelation chapter 6 verse 4, "Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword. So from that verse, we can see from a biblical perspective how the red horse symbolizes destruction and chaos. I also found the timing of this photo shoot to be quite strange, considering it came out just a few months after the kickoff between Russia and Ukraine. Next, notice how we could see the color scheme closely represents that of the Jesuit order, being the black and red. Then lastly, in regards to this picture in particular, one can also draw the connection between Beyonce and the Whore of Babylon. Now, for those that don't know, the Whore of Babylon is a symbolic figure mentioned in the book of Revelation, which is part of the New Testament of the Christian Bible. In the book, she is portrayed as a woman sitting on a scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. She is dressed in purple and scarlet clothing and adorned with gold, precious stones, and pearls. Some interpretations suggest that she represents a religious or political system that promotes immortality and adultery. Oftentimes in pop culture, the Whore of Babylon represents seduction and evil. Now, for those that don't know, scarlet generally refers to a bright shade of red. So when the book of Revelation describes the beast that the Whore of Babylon rides as being scarlet, it's commonly interpreted to mean that the beast is red in color. As you could see in this picture, Beyonce on the red horse is a play on the red beast. Continuing on the back of the Whore of Babylon connection, Beyonce was born on September 4th, which leaves 118 days in the year. The word Babylon alone equates to 118 in the reverse ordinal. The term Whore of Babylon is a later interpretation or title given to this figure based on the symbolic imagery described in text, the original name being Babylon the Great. I must mention that the Whore of Babylon is often interpreted in different ways among different denominations. The name Babylon is significant because it was a powerful city in ancient Mesopotamia and had become a symbol of worldly power, corruption, and idolatry. In the book of Revelation, Babylon is used as a symbol for a powerful and evil force that opposes God and his followers. Furthermore, some of the descriptions in the book of Revelation about the city of Babylon, such as its wealth, luxury, and pride, have been interpreted by some scholars to fit the description of Rome. Additionally, the use of the term 7 hills in Revelation chapter 17 verse 9, which describes the location of the city of Babylon, has been linked to the 7 hills of Rome. When you think of Rome these days, it's important to remember who's the head of the Roman Catholic Church right now, being none other than the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. Note, Whore of Babylon and the Society of Jesus both equal 71 in the reduction cipher. What's also interesting about Beyonce's comparison to the Whore of Babylon is that in the Thelema religion, which was founded by the English occultist Aleister Crowley, he also considered Babylon as a goddess. In her most abstract form, Babylon represents the female sexual impulse in the liberated woman. In the creed of the Gnostic Mass, she is also identified with Mother Earth in her most fertile sense. Along with her status as an archetype or goddess, Crowley believed that Babylon had an earthly aspect or avatar, a living woman who occupied the spiritual office of the Scarlet Woman. And let's not forget that Jay-Z had been seen wearing a sweater with the phrase, "Do what thou wilt," which is a famous quote from the English occultist and writer Aleister Crowley, furthermore alluding to the couple's involvement or knowledge of the occult. Now, as I discussed, Beyonce has not shied away from using religious symbolism from Catholicism to West African deities throughout her career. Just recently in Dubai on January 21st of 2023, she had her first concert in 4 years, where she was seen on a very interestingly designed stage set with a clear display of sun symbolism in the background, while she also sported a red and gold outfit, once again rocking the sun-like crown over her head. Now, with all this sun symbolism, it was impossible to not see its clear connection to the concept of sun worship, which the Jesuits know very well. Notice the resemblance the stage design has to the Jesuit IHS logo with the sun rays around it. Like, you gotta wonder where they get their inspiration for these types of themes. If one thing's for sure, it's that this means a whole lot more than just expressing oneself through quote-unquote art. Now, there was a story in 2018 surrounding Beyonce's ex-drummer of 7 years Kimberly Thompson, accusing her of practicing quote-unquote extreme witchcraft, even going as far as saying she suffered from Beyonce's magic spells of sexual molestation and that Beyonce murdered her pet kitten. Kimberly, Beyonce's ex-drummer, even requested a temporary restraining order, but it was denied by Los Angeles Superior Court on September 19th. There was then a hearing scheduled for October 11th of 2018. However, the case was tossed since neither Thompson or any representative of Beyonce appeared in court. It's interesting how the hearing was scheduled for October 11th, a date written 10/11 like the number 111. Again, the case was about witchcraft, which equals 111 in the ordinal cipher. With this story coming out, it really just seemed like damage control on behalf of Beyonce's PR team. Like, if you go to Beyonce's comment section on Instagram or YouTube, you'll often see a lot of people speculating that she's involved with the Illuminati, and there are also claims out there that suggest her sister Solange practices voodoo and witchcraft. So to divert the public from thinking that this could be true, they prop up this story only to have it get tossed to the curb as if it's completely out of the realm of possibility that a superstar like Beyonce would do such things. Or who knows, maybe the girl was paid not to show up. It's worth mentioning that the phrase extreme witchcraft used in the headlines equals 201 like the Jesuit order. Speaking of Beyonce's sister Solange, she too hasn't shied away from showing her interest in the occult. During the 2018 Met Gala, which had a theme inspired by Catholicism, Solange appeared in an all-black outfit with a golden sun crown over her head, just like her sister, but she also sported a bottle of Florida water, which is a perfume used in a number of ways ritualistically. A quick example of how it's used spiritually is by offering it to one's ancestors on your altar in a bowl, or spraying it on yourself. And speaking of altars, Solange once posted a photo of her own altar on a since deleted Instagram post, which sadly I cannot find a photo of myself. But this all ties into the practice of voodoo, which is a blend of the West African voodoo religion and Roman Catholicism by the descendants of the Dahomey, Congo, and Yoruba, and other ethnic groups that have been enslaved and transported to the colonial
Saint-Domingue,
aka Haiti, and partly Christianized by Roman Catholic missionaries in the 16th and 17th centuries. And as I mentioned earlier, Beyonce has represented herself as the Yoruba deity Ocean, the goddess of the river, representing fertility, wealth, and human sensuality. Well, Solange even posted on her record label's Instagram page that she identifies as a child of Yemaya, which is also another water goddess in the Yoruba religion and the sister of Ocean. Now, the parallels are actually quite fascinating when you compare the Knowles sisters to the Yoruban goddess sisters of West Africa. It's said that the children of Yemaya are willful and determined, which when you look at Solange, she has always been in the shadow of her sister, despite also possessing immense talent herself. Their personality is often compared to waves in the sea, sometimes calm and collected, but can suddenly become erratic and irritable. While Beyonce channels her ocean energy as the mainstream superstar sister with the wealth and sexual appeal to the masses. On Beyonce's latest album, Renaissance, which is defined as rebirth or revival, she titled it this because it was recorded during the time of COVID, where the world was stagnant, but she released it at a time when things were beginning to open up again. The album came out on July 29th of 2022, which was 38 days before her 40th birthday. Note the phrase gay agenda equals 38 in full reduction, which is by no coincidence, as Beyonce said it was her gay uncle Johnny who was the first person to expose her to a lot of music and culture, the same music that inspired this album. Once again, Beyonce is undoubtedly used as a vessel to transfer dark energy and a promiscuous lifestyle to her obsessed, cult-like fans. July 29th is also the 210th day of the year, which matches with the value of Beyoncé Knowles in the reverse ordinal cipher. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, Beyoncé fancies the usage of horses during photo shoots and album covers. For her latest album, she is seen on a glowing horse, which seems to represent the white horse of the apocalypse associated with conquest and conquering. Here are several other images of Beyoncé with or on a horse. Some say it's because she grew up in Texas and had a love of horses, but I beg to differ. Notice horse symbolism and Beyoncé Knowles have almost a 2-for-2 match in the base ciphers. Alright, now the last thing that I want to bring up in this video about Beyoncé involves her husband Jay-Z and both of their connections with the number 4. To start off, both Beyoncé and Jay-Z were born on the 4th day of their respective birth months, Beyoncé on September 4th and Jay-Z on December 4th. Next, the two got married on April 4th of 2008, a date written 4/4. In 2011, Beyoncé released her 4th studio album titled 4. Then Jay-Z released his album titled 444 in 2017. Now, the number 4 bears much importance in numerology. For starters, the 4-letter Hebrew word for God is Yahweh, or consider that there are 4 seasons on Earth that change over time, time being a 4-letter word itself. Also note that the 4th book of the Bible is called Numbers. Something I pointed out on an old video of mine covering Jay-Z's album 444 is the relevance of the number in the English Sumerian cipher, which is when you use the English alphabet, but instead of going into increments of 1, it's increments of 6. And notice all of these words equate to 444. So make of that what you will, but I definitely think these two find meaning and value in that number and occult knowledge in general. However, with that said, it's about time I wrap up this video, so I appreciate all of those who stuck around and watched the whole thing. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned a thing or two, but by now, y'all know the drill. Be sure to drop your boy a comment, drop any gems I may have missed throughout this video. Also, please make sure to beat the hell out of that like button, share the video, and most importantly, subscribe, man. Remember, all of those things are free to do. It's been your boy Script, and I'm out of here. Peace. Peace. Peace.